going to point you to another coach that kind of came to prominence in the Pac-12 at the time that Pete Carroll was moving on from there, and that's Chip Kelly. Of course, he was innovative, and Oregon was a top 5 program for the time that he was there, barely losing a game, national contention every year, and just using this offense where you had sleek down offensive linemen getting on the perimeter, getting out there in space, and just a creative, innovative offense.
Yeah, I mean, and you see what happened with Chip now, right? I mean, he's had to evolve a ton. I mean, he doesn't have the athletes he had at Oregon. It's a much different ball game at UCLA, and you watched him in the NFL. I mean, he had some success with it. Obviously, not long-term success, but there was a point in time where everyone was writing articles about Chip Kelly and what he was doing with the Eagles and how he was going to change the NFL because he had a sliver of success. But then, like everything else, it's a constant evolution. The game of football is a constant evolution, and it's cyclical at times. So defenses catch up, and then they get ahead of offenses. Then offenses innovate, and they get ahead of defenses. And it's this constant cat and mouse game, really, nationally. And that's what happened, right? Chip Kelly's offense was really, really good against what teams were doing defensively. And then naturally, defenses evolved, and Chip Kelly, he needed to pivot. He needed to find a different scheme, different things that he was doing. I mean, back then there was no such thing as an RPO. Now RPOs are everywhere, right? Run pass options. So it's kind of being an in vogue guy, right? Pete Carroll had his offense that was so good at USC. It was good in Seattle. And it's just, it's probably time to pivot. That's all it is. Defenses have caught up, and they need to take on different schemes and different concepts that other people are running. Football is such a thieves game, right? Everyone just steals concepts from everyone else. And I think it's time that they put on their mask and go steal some concepts.
Yeah, and that's why I bring up Chip Kelly, because, his calling card is not that he's a great recruiter. It's not that he relates to the players and that he's some great players coach. It's that he developed this offense that was ahead of the curve. Well, now that he's not ahead of the curve, what's his value?
Right. Right. That's the hard part of being a guru, right? I've always said, these guru guys, they get head jobs, they become, huge names overnight. And then all of a sudden their guru shtick is no longer, of guru status. And it's like, all right, what do you got now? Like what's his deal now? What's his makeup? And you're watching it, right? UCLA hasn't had that Chip Kelly, return to prominence. It's been kind of a struggle, and it's because you hit the nail on the head. His brand has been this innovative offense. Well, it's not innovative anymore. So now what is his brand? He got nothing.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons I credit Steve Spurrier, because he was ahead of the game, fun and gun in the 90s. He gets to South Carolina, and no longer is he doing anything that nobody else knows about, right. But he was able to pivot, be kind of a different coach, and actually had a running game defense oriented team in South Carolina that won 11 games 3 years in a row.